Yeah, it's coming up to the 405 right now. Yeah, no worries. So I am hearing the CHP talking about possibly using spike strips. So what they need to do in order to do that is, of course, to try to figure out what lane he's going to be in order to be able to pick the right one to deploy that strip. So right now, I am hearing that they're talking about it, so it is a possibility in terms of pit maneuver. Not really going to happen because the speeds are just a little too high. And again, we have the NBC4 News at 6 o'clock coming up here in just a matter of minutes. We, of course, thank you to all of you who are watching us online, including our friend Ryan Brigard and his wife Lily. We thank you for your viewership. And of course, everyone who is following along here on NBCLA.com, Roku TV, and Apple TV as well. This pursuit continues here, though, on the northbound side of the 101 near the 405 freeway. So we are now entering the Encino area, continuing northbound. Maybe setting up to exit here. Nope. Seemed like he was going to exit at Balboa, but instead going to continue. And there were some spike strips there. I saw that CHP officer was trying to deploy those, but it does not seem like the driver was in the right lane to run over those. So for now, continuing here northbound 101 freeway, just south of the Sepulveda Basin, near the 405. They said negative deployment, so they did not deploy the spike strips in time. He did not run over them. And it looks like we're getting our first peek here at the driver. His window appears to be a man doing a lot of gesturing there with his left hand. Tough to tell if there's anybody else in there. My monitor's pretty small up here, so it's tough to tell, but I know sometimes I hear from you guys at home because you can see a little bit better than I can on my little monitor, but at this point, hard to tell. All I can tell all that I can tell is that it is a man behind the wheel. Yeah, almost. He's almost slow enough in order to pit maneuver. Maybe exiting here at White Oak. Okay, exiting White Oak here. 101 freeway at White Oak. Okay, copy that. Telemundo gonna use this at the top of the show as well. Okay, and he's gonna be going northbound. So northbound on White Oak. Y para todos nuestros televidentes de Telemundo 52, también vamos a estar en vivo en las noticias a las 6. Okay, going northbound here on White Oak from the 101 freeway. And in terms of the vehicle, it does appear to be a Toyota Corolla to me. Okay. He's right on my side, Jim. Okay. Hey, copy that. Top of the show. Lolita and Kathy, copy that. Okay, and he looks like he's about to be back on the move. Sure enough, back northbound here on White Oak from Oxnard. So we're in the approaching the Lake Balboa area. Okay, copy. Yeah, go for it. Kathy and Lolita, the pursuit's going to come under us here for just a second. That's why we'll have a wide shot just for a moment. But this pursuit is on Victory and Encino in the San Fernando Valley, very close to the Sepulveda Basin. And this is a pursuit that's actually started in El Monte when El Monte police officers tried to pull over this vehicle on the 10 freeway near Santa Anita because it came back as a stolen. But the driver behind the wheel decided he was not going to stop for El Monte police and led officers on a chase on the westbound 10 to the 101 freeway, where it is now the California Highway Patrol that is in pursuit. The car itself appears to be a Toyota Corolla. Unclear how many people may be in the vehicle, but the driver appears to be a man. It's unclear if there's anybody else in the car, Kathy, but I've been trying to sneak a peek every now and then whenever I can. And at this point, it's really difficult to tell if anybody else is in the vehicle with him. But of course, this is a smaller vehicle. At most, it's going to fit about 5 people. But we have not heard if anybody else is in the car with the driver. What we do know is that the pursuit started about 30 to 40 minutes ago, again, in the Santa Anita area, or rather on the 10 freeway near the Santa Anita exit in El Monte. But because the pursuit made its way onto the freeway, that is when the California Highway Patrol took over. It's behind us, Jim, coming up my side. In terms of erratic driving, he really hasn't been all that crazy. When he was on the freeway, it wasn't extreme speeds. And then now that he's been on surface streets, he has been stopping at red lights for the most part, or if he gets a red light and he doesn't want to wait, he'll just make a turn in order to avoid running the red. So as far as reckless driving is concerned, we really haven't seen too much of it, really not too much in the way of close calls either. But in terms of pursuit intervention tactics, at this point I have not heard the CHP talk about a possible pit maneuver, but I have heard them talk about spike strips. And in fact, they tried to deploy a set of spike strips when the driver was on the 101 freeway near Woodman, I believe, but unfortunately he was able to drive right past it and he did not run over those strips. So at this point, the car is still fully capable of continuing to drive. Nothing in terms of flat tires or any collisions that have occurred just yet. They could consider a pit maneuver because at this point we don't believe that he is armed. We have no information to lead us to believe that he is, and so for that reason they would be able to try a pit maneuver. And of course this is the California Highway Patrol that is in pursuit, so all of their officers have been pit trained to do pit maneuvers in situations like this, so it definitely is a possibility. The car is small enough and the speeds are slow enough in order to have a successful pit maneuver. So if by any chance they get on a nice wide open street where there really isn't too many other vehicles either on the road or parked on either side of the road, they may be able to attempt it. Yeah, we've seen some gesturing, and his window has been down for a good stretch of the pursuit. We just noticed he was taking a drink out of something. And so, for that reason, it seems like he's very relaxed, very nonchalant about it all, really making no effort to try to pull over. So, it's unclear exactly what his mindset may be. And again, it's also unclear if anybody else is in the vehicle with him. This is a pursuit that has been going on now for about 40 minutes or so, all the way from El Monte, and we're now in the Lake Balboa area, not far from Van Nuys Airport. Yeah, let me check. I was just using my doubler there to see if we could see if anybody else was in there. It's really tough to tell, but here's the California Highway Patrol. Earlier, I counted about 3 units, and I think that's all we have. So yeah, we just have 3 ground units of the California Highway Patrol behind the vehicle, and then we also have the CHP airship overhead. And I like to take advantage of these times when he's like right nose to nose with us to see if I can look inside. But again, not really seeing anyone in that front passenger seat. But of course, this car has a back seat, so there's a possibility that somebody could be in the rear. It's behind us, Jim. Yeah, looking at the area that he's in now, it is a highly residential area. You see homes on either side of this street. So the weather tonight here in the San Fernando Valley, it's actually still warm, but it's overcast. So it's actually a great time to go for a walk, and there's a slight breeze as well. So that's always what worries me, at least when a pursuit is on surface streets, is that you could have people walking around minding their own business, and then this guy comes right at you at full speeds. But fortunately, his speeds are relatively slow. You see them there on our speedometer, about 20 miles an hour. And again, he's in a residential area. It's unclear if this is an area that is familiar to him, considering that the pursuit started out in the El Monte area. Typically what we see is that drivers tend to return to an area that is familiar to them, but not knowing who's behind the wheel and knowing that the car is stolen, running the plates and getting the registration information really doesn't help the California Highway Patrol because they don't know who's behind the wheel. Yeah, absolutely. If he runs through a red or runs through a stop sign, he's going to possibly encounter a cross-traffic situation, which could endanger not only his life, but the lives of other drivers. And so hopefully he'll just continue to clear the intersection every time he does come up to a red light. Or if he wants to just hop on the freeway, that really takes a lot of the danger element out of it, because at least everyone is running in the same direction, and there's not going to be any pedestrians or cross-traffic. But at this point, continuing here on Sherman Way, we're very close to Van Nuys Airport, just on the southeast side of it, and continuing at relatively slow speeds, all things considered. He's turning on a Gloria, so we're Gloria at Sherman Way, and again, very close to Van Nuys Airport. This is a residential area, so again, it's unclear to me if this area is familiar to him or if he's just lost. But all residential here. We're, again, very close to the 405 freeway, very close to Van Nuys Airport, and he's continuing at slow speeds, almost like as if he's looking for a place to ditch the car and take off running. And the CHP, though, isn't going to give him much room in order to do that. You can see that they're about 1 or 2 car lengths away from him. And I did just see a 4th unit of the California Highway Patrol behind the vehicle as well. But I should say, because he's on surface streets now, this is LAPD's jurisdiction, so now the Los Angeles Police Department could get behind the vehicle since he's not on the freeway anymore. It's not the California Highway Patrol's jurisdiction. However, they can stay on it, though, if they so choose. Yeah, it's a very laid-back attitude. The driver's side window is down. He's gesturing with his hands. We saw him taking a drink out of a cup. It's almost like as if he's just out for a Sunday drive, really. But look at this. He's actually turning into an underground parking structure. So underground parking structure, Haskell, near the 405 freeway. You see the CHP officers, they're going right behind him. Now, I don't know if there's any other way out of this structure besides the way he came in. So I'm going to keep a wide shot here so that we can see him if he does pop out of either one of these exits here. But again, CHP right behind him. Yeah, so what I'm hearing, Lolita, actually, is that they got him. They said we got him. So it sounds like they may be taking him into custody. And you saw that one officer approach with a shield. So it looks like that officer was going to come up to the car with that shield just to protect himself. And I'm still hearing, because I also heard that there was another pedestrian that was in the mix who may have just been too close to that vehicle. So I'm still waiting to hear the official code 4, which means that everyone is in custody. There we go, code 4. Just heard it on the scanner with one person in custody. I'm sorry, Jim, go ahead. Okay. And for everyone watching us online, we had this pursuit end at Haskell and Sherman Way. That is where that structure is located. You see some independent journalists here who arrived on scene to get some video of the termination. And you see LAPD officers arriving on scene as well, as this is their jurisdiction. Copy that, Jamie. And once again, thank you to everyone who joined us on our coverage here of this pursuit here through the San Fernando Valley. Of course, we have the NBC4 News at 6 o'clock on right now. That will run till 7. And of course, we have the NBC4 News at 11 o'clock. That runs till midnight. We hope you can tune in for that. But for now, from News Chopper 4, alongside my pilot, James Pollard, I'm Eliana Marino. Thank you for watching.